Okay, welcome in. We are going to discuss Super Bowl Sunday. It is in the books. Most of the people mad or disliking the halftime show. I got an answer for that. I didn't watch it. I didn't watch the one online, but I heard the one online was pretty good too. I think Kid Rock and a few others were in that one. What's the guy's name? Bad Bunny. A lot of complaints. A lot of complaints. Probably the NFL should take notice. They continue to push the envelope. And we're going to talk about that as well. Super Bowl game, not bad. I mean, Seattle controlled the game. They won the game. What it was. Welcome in. You're listening to the Teal Shirt Report podcast. Okay. Thank you for tuning in. This is Scott, your host for the Teal Shirt Report podcast. And we got to stick it. We still got to stick it at episode show number 15A. I'm talking about Bob Davis, the backup quarterback for Joe Namath, who wore number 15. But I left Tim Tebow out. How could they do that? Florida Gator quarterback, maybe one of the best college football players of all time, Tim Tebow, number 15. And what about the Indiana Hoosiers quarterback, number 15, who won the national championship and the Heisman Trophy? He shares that common interest with, those common accomplishments with Tim Tebow, redshirt junior quarterback Fernando Mendoza. Man, they blew out everybody. I'm seeing pictures when they blew out Purdue 56-3 back on November the 28th of 2025. They won the national championship game over Miami of Florida's Hurricanes, and he wore 15 like Tim Tebow. He did. And we're talking about quarterback Fernando Mendoza, wore number 15. He ran a play wearing 15 when he ran for a touchdown that looked Tim Tebow-ish to me. So I got to salute Fernando Mendoza wearing 15. Tim Tebow, especially also Florida Gator national championship and Heisman Trophy winner. And yes, we'll still mention Bob Davis, who wore number 15, the backup for Joe Namath. When Joe Namath got hurt, came out of the game, I took notice of the backup when I was a young child, and it was Bob Davis. The Jets had another backup because, Joe Namath hurt his knees a lot. Well, who was the other backup guy? I think he wore 18. Al Woodall, was that the guy's name? We'll have to look that up when we get closer to 18. Joe sold me on the Patriots. New York Joe sold me on the Patriots, but he said deny. I did have some guys that, because I put the word out, hey, give me your Super Bowl pick right before kickoff. I'm talking to people about the Super Bowl picks, and man, the defensive line for Seattle, again, the defensive line for Seattle controlled the game. They outplayed the New England offensive line. Whether you think May, the quarterback, Drake May, and I'll tell you a funny story. I saw people in Jacksonville coming out of the grocery store. I saw a couple, a very young couple with Drake May, New England Patriot jerseys on. It said May on the back of the jersey. That's what they were. They were Drake May jerseys. They were kind of wrapped up in the glamour of the bowl, but it took a little luster off for the Patriots fans losing to Seattle. We've got the final score, up on our podcast here. Seattle Seahawks 29, New England Patriots 13, the final. Please leave your comments in the comment area on our YouTube channel about the game. Both defenses were pretty good. Seattle's defense was better, and overall, Seattle's team was better than the Patriots. And I think the championship of the National Football League was probably decided in the NFC Championship game when Seattle beat the LA Rams. The LA Rams quarterback won the MVP, probably deserving. The Jaguars played both of those teams. The LA Rams blew out the Jaguars very early of the season, a rare blowout for the Jaguars in 2025. Seattle beat the Jaguars relatively low scoring game, but I walked away from that loss against Seattle when the Jaguars lost to the Seattle Seahawks really early in the season and said, man, Seattle has got a good team. And they do. Another thing that was interesting is, Joe and I were scratching our heads for number 14 and way back at episode show number 14. I came up with Ed Podolak. I think Joe mentioned a guy or two. We talked about Justin Blackmon, who was a talented guy, but his career ended way too early because of personal issues, substance abuse issues, etc. Or drinking issues with Justin Blackmon. You remember, the career didn't last for Justin Blackmon, but he wore 14. So we are mentioning him. And then Joe hits me up, I think late last night and said, hey, I remember 14 now. It's Sam Darnold. Does he wear 14? Well, we should know because we're talking about the Super Bowl. And I want to see this 14 jersey that he's wearing. But yeah, Sam Darnold. Joe and I were looking for number 14. We could not think of Sam Darnold as wearing 14, but he sure does. I'm looking at the jersey now. The right-handed quarterback, Sam Darnold, for the Seattle Seahawks. He's absolutely now a Super Bowl champion. So we salute Sam Darnold, number 14. And when 14's come back around again, I think we're going to have to salute him kind of on an annual basis. Super Bowl on Sunday, February the 8th of 2026. NFL football Super Bowl. Seattle Seahawks 29, New England Patriots 13, the final. Again, the Seattle Seahawks 29, New England Patriots 13, the final. Whatever you thought about the Super Bowl, the halftime show, I did not get back to world headquarters until right at the tail end of halftime. I think I saw the halftime folks walking up the field. I understand it was all in Spanish. A lot of people did not like that. And I'm going to say this because the NFL was founded years ago. And the NFL, in my opinion, they continue to push this thing to the edge. You've heard about comedians pushing the envelope. The NFL pushes the envelope. With the international games, this Spanish halftime show, even though there was an alternate show that was online that I didn't see. I didn't even know about the alternate show until afterwards. I heard people saying Kid Rock. Did he say something at the end? You better dust off your Bibles. Not a bad comment at all. So there was an alternate show. And if anybody watched the alternate show or even the halftime show, if you got your comments on the halftime show, please post them. New York Joe was not excited about Bad Bunny or Bad Money. I guess it was Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny. If you got any comments about the halftime show, if you watched it, if you did not watch it, give us your comments on the halftime show, which was quite controversial. So maybe that's what the NFL was hoping for. They wanted you to talk about it. And what did people do? They talked about it. The halftime show. Seattle won the game 29-13 over the Patriots. We had some predictions, by the way. I hit people up right before the game and said, hey, what's your Super Bowl pick? New York Joe sold me on the Patriots. So I ended up picking the Patriots. New York Joe picked the Patriots, and we were dead wrong. Seattle controlled the game. Their defensive line outplayed the Patriots' offensive line. Sam Darnold is a better than average NFL quarterback. And in fact, I'll go along with what New York Joe said. He said Sam Darnold is probably at this time a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. And now he's got a Super Bowl ring. You can't take that away from the guy. The guy was drafted, I think, by the New York Jets, played with San Francisco, Carolina. A lot of that was in backup capacities where when the starter got hurt, he came in and played. He continued to hone his skills. Finally, when he got to Minnesota, it looked like, man, the light switch has gone on for Sam Darnold at the NFL level. Then he went to Seattle, and lo and behold, he's taken the biggest prize in the world, the NFL Super Bowl championship. And being a Jaguars fan, I'm thinking to myself, Man, I just want to win a Lamar Hunt trophy. I mean, Buffalo did it at least 4 times, not even counting the times they did it in the AFL back in the 60s. But I know the Buffalo Bills, JC, well, they've won 4 of those Lamar Hunt trophies, and I am jealous because before you could really talk about winning a Super Bowl, you got to win that Lamar Hunt trophy with the Jacksonville Jaguars since you're in the AFC. Jacksonville Icemen finally, after really struggling, won a game. And let me see, I got the score up here. Jacksonville Icemen, this was back on February the 7th, the day before the Super Bowl. Super Bowl Sunday was what? Sunday, February the 8th, just a couple of days ago. The Jacksonville Icemen back on the winning track with a win on the road over the South Carolina Stingrays 4-1 on Saturday night, February the 7th of 2026. The Jacksonville Icemen get their 18th win. The Jacksonville Icemen now improved to 18, 22-3 on the 2025-26 East Coast Hockey League season. That information comes to us from BigJReport.com. Concerts, Barry Manilow rescheduled for April the 27th at the arena, the VyStar Veterans Memorial Arena. The rest of the concerts are up on the website. Joe Jackson will play Atlanta during the summertime, and we'll have that one. We're probably going to, even though it's an Atlanta show, I think we're going to put that up in our concert listings. We'll do that soon. So if you want to check concerts in the area, go to BigJReport.com and go to the Neighbors 2 section. You'll also find links for the internet radio shows that are fantastic to madmaxmix.weebly.com. On Wednesday nights, Mad Max will play your request. And then the very following night, JC would live from the pub on Thursday nights at LakeUfallahits.com. Great internet radio where it's all good. Check the bottom scroll on our podcast, and it does mention our sponsors. JC's live from the pub show on Thursday nights at LakeUfallahits.com. Great internet radio where it's all good. The Teal Shirt Report podcast is brought to you by Saucer Realty and Capital. For your real estate needs in North Florida, there's a link for Saucer Realty and Capital on our homepage, right near or in the beginning or right at the end of the North Florida weather information on our homepage. Check out Mad Max. Mad Max's Wednesday night request show, the Mad Max Mix.weebly.com. And, of course, JC's show live from the pub on Thursday nights at LakeUfallahits.com. You know, great internet radio where it's all good. And both of these guys, Mad Max on Wednesday night, JC live from the pub on Thursday nights, they have both played my request. And they both have a little bit of a different style, but they're both great shows. Mad Max kind of takes you back to the roots of music with the great catalog from Leonard Skinner, Atlanta Rhythm Section, Steely Dan, who play that White Rabbit by the Jefferson Airplane, and many other great songs. JC's show is, I'm going to say it's high octane, a lot of energy, a lot of moving songs. Check out JC live from the pub Thursday nights, starting at 6 o'clock p.m. Central Time, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, live from the pub with JC on Thursday nights. You'll see those shows on our scroll at the bottom of the window there on our podcast. And again, for your real estate needs, whether you're buying or selling, whether it's home, residential, business, or commercial real estate, trust your real estate needs to Larry Saucer and Saucer Realty and Capital. Scroll our homepage near the North Florida weather reports, and you will find a link for Saucer Realty and Capital. If you're wondering about this weather, getting a little milder, not quite as cold, although this morning, we did get down this morning to, what was it low this morning? 39 on Tuesday morning, February the 10th. Tuesday morning, February the 10th of 2026. We got down to 39 degrees at about 5:45 a.m. Temperatures now up a little bit in the 7 o'clock hour at 41 degrees. Currently clear, quite cool in Jacksonville, 39 earlier this morning, now 41 degrees. on this Tuesday morning, February the 10th of 2026. Forecast clear and sunny today. High temperatures really moderating and getting milder. Somewhat warmer. High today near 75. Wind southwest to west at about 5 to 8 miles per hour. Some clouds moving in tonight, but still, it looks like still remaining very dry, at least for now. Low late tonight near 50. Not quite as cool tonight. That's our weather report from BigJReport.com. So you can check our weather, our news, sports, more sports and weather, and even the concert listings at BigJReport.com. The concert listings in the Neighbors 2 section. And you'll find links for Mad Max's show on Wednesday night and JC Live from the pub on Thursday nights in our Neighbors 2 section. There's also an article about Mad Max in the Outside the Box section at BigJReport.com. So Joe and I were off, and when we're wrong, we'll mention it. New York Joe was pulling for the Patriots, and he kind of persuaded me to pick the Patriots too. But, Joe said, hey, you got to make your picks, Scott, and I did. But the guys that were really on the money, when I sent the text messages out right before kickoff on Super Bowl Sunday, I got some folks that messaged me their picks. John Gaylor, our contributor and correspondent. Some of us missed the mark on our Super Bowl pick, but John Gaylor had a good pick. John Gaylor, our contributor and correspondent, was close. His pick before the game started, John Gaylor said, I'll go over. Take Seattle 30, New England 20. So that was fairly close. We'll call him the Colonel. I won't give out any last names, but the Colonel, who I went to high school with back in the day, he had Seattle. He picked Seattle. Let me see. Seattle 42, the Patriots 10. He was fairly close. I mean, he was right about Seattle on the winning end of a blowout. The Colonel picked Seattle 42, the Patriots 10. My high school chum back in the day, the Colonel. And Big Bill, big Eagles fan, had to be disappointed his Eagles were at home during the Super Bowl. Big Bill, I sent him a text message, hey, what's your Super Bowl pick? Big Bill picked Seattle 30, New England 21. Big Bill was extremely close. Hey, were you close at all? I was off, and so was New York Joe, just a tad off. Leave us your comments about the Super Bowl, the halftime show, which the majority of the people, when I saw people interviewed about it, people were livid. They did not like it. Either people really did not like it a lot, or they said, man, the whole thing was in Spanish. I couldn't understand it. Talking about Bad Bunny. Give us your opinions right here. Right. And Joe, New York Joe, to his credit, gave us his opinion even before the game was played. So as far as the halftime show goes with Bad Bunny, I'll say that was bad. The Budweiser commercial featuring the Leonard Skinner song, Freebird, that was good. The game was not the best game, but Seattle really dominated the line of scrimmage. Sam Darnold showed why he's probably a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. He's above average. I told Joe that. New York Joe said he's a top 10 quarterback, and I can't really argue that point. The past 2 years, Sam Darnold's played a lot of good football, and he is kind of aged gracefully through experience. It's like the old days when it took 4 or 5 years for a quarterback to develop, and now they rush those first-round quarterback draft picks out there quicker. They got to perform quicker, or they're gone, or they're on to another team. And that's what happened with Sam Darnold. Started with the Jets. Maybe didn't get the good coaching there, or just hadn't developed yet. Ended up, had stints with Carolina, San Francisco, and then finally things started to turn his way in Minnesota. Then he went to Seattle because they ponied up the money for him, believed in him. And now what have they done for their investment? They've won a Super Bowl. The Seattle Seahawks 29, the New England Patriots 13, the final score. So, if I want to talk more about the Super Bowl, I don't really want to talk about the halftime show. If you have a problem with the halftime show, I didn't see really hardly any of it, because when I got back to World Headquarters, the halftime show was just about over. I had gone to see a family member, and when I got back, the halftime show was just they were looked like they were coming off the field. I watched the second half, and I think when I watched the game, when I started watching the game, it was either 6-0 or 9-0 Seattle, and Seattle went on to win the game. The offensive line, um, and I would say the offensive line for the Patriots, they were dominated by Seattle's defensive front. Super Bowl MVP. And everybody said it must have been the kicker. He kicked so many field goals. But no, it was Brother Walker, Kenneth Walker, right? Let me see, because I was asking people right after giving, hey, who won the MVP? Who won the Super Bowl? And the Super Bowl MVP was actually the guy, what was his name? Kenny Walker. Super Bowl MVP, Kenneth Walker the third, a running back. Final score. And Kenneth Walker won the MVP of the game. There were some Apple turnovers in the game, which were critical, and we knew there would be. These are two teams with really, really good records. Were the Patriots doing it with mirrors? No, you win games, you win games. Drake May had a very good second year, very, very, very young quarterback, and he is still developing like Sam Darnold did. I mean, you go back to year two of Sam Darnold, you got to say in the pressure Super Bowl situation, Sam Darnold was better, but the defensive line, names, because we mainly covered the Jacksonville Jaguars, but there was a guy, you remember Leonard, he got drafted by the Jets years ago with Seattle. What was the guy's name? Defensive lineman, you know who I'm talking about. Leonard Williams became the first Seattle player since Frank Clark and Jaron Reed in 2018 with double-digit sacks. As was one of the two players, Myles Garrett, I guess the other 2+ sacks and 3+ tackles for losses. And I'm just reading what I see here. When you go online, you find all kinds of stuff. But Leonard Williams is a guy that was drafted by the Jets out of Southern Cal, and he had all kinds of promise. I think Leonard was a little bit of a late bloomer too, 6'5", 310 pounds, 11 years now in the NFL. I remember when he was at the Combine. He's 31 years old now, out of USC. Great pick. Everybody at the Combine said, man, this guy's the best defensive player at the Combine this particular year. And lo and behold, the time has flown by, and now he's been in the year 11. He's been in the league 11 years, and he has now won a Super Bowl. He's had some great games. The Seattle defensive line is strong, right? Leonard Williams, I liked him at the Combine. I really did. I watched that guy and said, man, if I'm the Jaguars, I'd love to have this guy. He's been in the league 11 years. Started out, I believe he was drafted by the Jets early on. And Leonard Williams, man, Super Bowl champion now. Leonard Austin Williams, born back in 1994 as an American football defensive tackle for the Seattle Seahawks of the National Football League. He was selected by the New York Jets with the 6th overall pick back in the first round, about 11 years ago. Good football player, and it came to fruition that he has won a Super Bowl. And after 11 years, you got to say he's won a Super Bowl. He's lived up to the hype. Sam Darnold, another guy that was hyped up, and he was a high draft pick by the Jets as well. What happened to the Jets? They let a couple of good players slip through their fingers for whatever reason. But Sam Darnold, he was a guy that took a while to develop. And back in the old days, you'd have the backup quarterback understudying behind the starting quarterback. And I think the last time that really happened was probably when you had, you had Brett Favre at Green Bay, and then you had Aaron Rodgers, who was drafted late in the first round, a lot later than he should have been drafted. And he was the understudy for a few years under Brett Favre and kind of got his wings. And, he's still played with the Steelers this year. And Steelers got beat, but they made it to the playoffs. Well, final score again, Seattle Seahawks 29, New England Patriots 13, the final score. Seattle Seahawks 29, the New England Patriots 13, the final score. Super Bowl in the books. Seattle Seahawks, the NFL World Super Bowl champions. What'd you think about the game? Is Seattle that good? When they beat the Jaguars early in the season, I said, man, they got a good team. I said that to myself, and I'm pretty sure I mentioned it on one of our podcast episodes as well. They got a good team, and they're even better when Sam Darnold's on a roll and playing well. And New York Joe said, hey, he's a top 10 quarterback. He is above average. Yeah, he's probably pushing the top 10 list. If you think he's a top 10 quarterback, let me know. Obviously, the running back won the MVP. We talked about Leonard Williams as part of a really good defensive line that plays well as a team. And the defensive line for Seattle, they kept the pressure on. I mean, they shut New England out, in the first half. And New England only scored 13 points. And some of those points were maybe garbage time. Seattle Seahawks 29, New England Patriots 13, the final. Again, leave your comments in the comment area. We want to thank our sponsor, Saucer Realty and Capital, for your real estate needs in North Florida. Also, the MadMaxMix.weebly.com. JC, check him out live from the pub on Thursday nights. This Thursday night and every Thursday night at LakeUFallahits.com. Great internet radio. And Mad Max on Wednesday night. Get me some Steely Dan on. Or that Leonard Skinner song I love. Mad Max plays Leonard Skinner. None of the original members, to my knowledge, are living with Leonard Skinner. So they got a great catalog. Max brings their music back to life on the MadMaxMix.weebly.com. On Wednesday night, 6 o'clock Central Time, 7 o'clock Eastern Time. Max goes from 6 o'clock till 8 o'clock Central Time, 7 o'clock till 9 o'clock Eastern Time. And then after his show, he kind of has an encore by playing some long cuts after his show. Great show, MadMaxMix.weebly.com. And then the very next night, JC live from the pub on Thursday nights at LakeUFallahits.com. Absolutely great internet radio where it's all good. Go to BigJReport.com. Check out the concerts in the Neighbors 2 section. We have weather reports on the homepage. We check news, sports, more sports, weather information, concert listings. We've got it for you at BigJReport.com. And again, check out Mad Max this Wednesday night and JC live from the pub this coming Thursday night. Hope you've enjoyed the Teal Shirt Report podcast episode, show number 15A. We'll salute Tebow, the Indiana quarterback. Man, the Indiana quarterback. And I have to remember his name sometimes, but man, they had a season for the ages. Big Ten title for the first time since the 1960s. Quarterback number 15, Fernando Mendoza, won the Heisman. They were the story of college football in 2025. Number 15, quarterback Fernando Mendoza. They won the Big Ten title and the national championship too. Tim Tebow won a national championship. In fact, Tim Tebow won 2 national championships when he was at Florida wearing number 15. And Bob Davis, number 15, was a backup quarterback for Joe Namath back during the 1970s. So we salute some number 15s. I'm sure I missed somebody, but we'll do it again. We'll probably move to 16 in the next episode. And then Joe hit me up late last night and said, we didn't mention Sam Darnold was number 14. Now, maybe if we mentioned Sam Darnold in that episode, maybe we put the hex on him, Joe. I don't know, but he won the game. So I think from this point on, we have to remember Sam Darnold, number 14. He was not mentioned as number 14 in our episode show, number 14, but I'm sure we'll do that in future years. That's going to do it for the Teal Shirt Report podcast. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. I want to thank my executive producer, JC, a long-suffering Buffalo Bills fan. But, JC, I'm jealous of the Buffalo Bills. The Jaguars won one of those Lamar Hunt trophies at some point in time. I just want the Lamar Hunt trophy. You got to win that one before you can worry about winning a Super Bowl. But the Buffalo Bills, they got them Lamar Hunt trophies. There's no doubt about it. 30 minutes in, we're going to wrap it up. We've been eloquently produced by our executive producer, JC, also by Alex Nunnery. Contributor and correspondent John Gaylor was close, very close in his prediction of the Super Bowl win for the Seattle Seahawks, 29, the New England Patriots, 13. Gaylor was close on his pick, so was the Colonel, and so was Big Bill, old Eagles fan. But I messaged him. I said, hey, you got a Super Bowl pick? And he picked Seattle, and he was pretty darn close in the game as well. So we had some picks. Any comments about the halftime show, the Super Bowl result? Please comment in our comment area on our channel. The Teal Shirt Report podcast from BigJReport.com is our channel. Again, special thanks to our executive producer, JC, also Alex Nunnery, and our contributor, correspondent, John Gaylor. 31 minutes. We're wrapping it up. You guys have a great day. Thank you absolutely for listening and watching the Teal Shirt Report podcast. This is the Teal Shirt Report podcast. Episode show number 15A. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'm your host, Scott, with the Teal Shirt Report podcast from BigJReport.com. I am out. Super Bowl Sunday's in the books. Seattle Seahawks 29, New England Patriots 13, the final. Jaguars got a lot of decisions to make. There's going to be free agents signed by the Jaguars. They're probably going to lose Devin Lloyd, and they're going to lose ETN. We'll see what happens. The offseason, they make it exciting in the NFL, don't they? And the NFL's pushing the envelope with the halftime shows, the international games. Your thoughts on the NFL? Let us know in the comments, or anything about the Jaguars, music, or what have you, or the halftime show, which was a music show, right? You guys have a great day. This has been the Teal Shirt Report podcast. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to episode show number 15A. I'm Scott, your host. I'm out.